Folks, we begin this hour with Donald Trump trying to message his way out of the chaos that he's creating with America's economy and the first signs of the Trump administration's impact on the labor market. February's job report showed that 151,000 jobs were added last month. Now, that is fewer jobs than expected, with unemployment ticking up to 4.1%. The federal government shrank its workforce by 10,000 as Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency takes a chainsaw to the federal government. Now, the majority of DOGE's purge of federal workers won't really be felt until next month's jobs report. But there's also some fallout of Donald Trump's whiplash tariff policy. Just days after Trump issued exemptions on tariffs for a variety of goods from Mexico and Canada, 2 days after he put the sweeping tariffs in place, Trump held an unscheduled Oval Office press conference to discuss the jobs report and his tariff policies. He was asked how long Americans should expect things to cost more.
There could be some disturbance, a little bit of disturbance. I solved a little bit of that because I have respect for our auto companies.
Now, the president added that there are always adjustments and changes to his tariff policies, warning that he could implement tariffs targeting Canadian dairy and lumber as soon as today. It all comes as members of Trump's cabinet seem to be hinting at economic pain ahead for regular Americans. A day after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent defended Donald Trump's position on tariffs, saying that access to cheap goods isn't the American dream, well, today he did acknowledge signs of a slowing economy.
Could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
It's a lot. We're going to break it down. Joining me now, NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard is here at the table. So is Republican strategist and MSNBC political analyst Rick Tyler and MSNBC contributor Maria Teresa Kumar, president and CEO of Voto Latino. All right, Vaughn, let's just start with you. Okay, so February jobs report. Oh, Lord. See, let me tell y'all, Vaughn was over here when I started to read, and now Rick is over there. Okay, little musical chairs over here for a Friday night. Vaughn, February jobs report, fewer jobs than expected. Unemployment is still low, I would note. 4.1% is remarkable given all the things that have gone on. These are still the bumps from the Biden economy. But people are concerned. Walk me through what the White House is thinking is. What are the White House officials saying? I feel like they're trying to do this dance and message their way out of this mess that's been created and the chaos and the uncertainty with, frankly, what's come out of cabinet officials, the president's own remarks.
Right. Let's just go back to the transition and compare that to where we are now. During the transition, the stock market was still on its way up, as we saw over the course of all 4 years of the Biden administration. Corporations didn't actually largely believe that the Trump administration would implement such far-reaching tariffs as he repeatedly threatened to do on the campaign trail. If you fast forward to where we are, though, now, all of that has taken place, and even more so. You have seen the stock market, the S&P 500, fell over the course of the last week by more than 3%. You are looking at economic consternation for Americans, as Howard Lutner, Commerce Secretary, has acknowledged today that prices on some goods will, in fact, go up. And even Scott Bessent, his Treasury Secretary, acknowledging today that this is an organic strategy, effectively acknowledging that the Trump administration is implementing these tariffs and in some cases rescinding them on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis. And we have seen what the markets have done. And even President Trump in the Oval Office today suggested that there would be some disturbances to the economy because of the results of the Trump administration's economic policies that they've been implementing.
Organic strategy. The next time I go crazy shopping, I'm going to tell my husband, Rick, that, this is just an organic strategy of how I decided to pick what I'm getting. This is organic, Sean. That's why I'm going so many times. Rick, Republican senators are worried about the tariffs, and something that we haven't seen thus far in the Trump administration are Republicans speaking out about their concerns. Usually it's happening behind closed doors, but there are a lot of senators that we have on tape talking about the tariffs. I'm going to play that for you right now.
Almost every industry in Kentucky has come to me and said it will hurt our industry and push up prices of homes, cars, and so I'm going to continue to argue against tariffs.
I'm worried about the tariffs. We're in uncharted waters. I think if the tariffs do start to cause inflation, I think the president will back away from them.
When we start losing, you back off. You know, there's such a thing as a strategic retreat. At the end of the day, I think we have more leverage than any other nation, but we got to be smart, and we don't have all the leverage.
Rand Paul of Kentucky. I think the bourbon distilleries are concerned. John Kennedy of Louisiana, and then Tom Tillis in North Carolina. Obviously, he's up for re-election in 2026.
Tariffs have a negative effect on the economy. We don't have to wonder about it. It's like a wrecking ball at the apex aimed at the building. When the wrecking ball starts to move, we know it's going to happen. It's going to hit the building. That's what's going to happen. Let's be clear about what tariffs are. Tariffs are a tax. Republicans used to not like taxes. Now they love taxes. They love 25% taxes. And it is the worst kind of tax because it's a regressive tax, mostly on the poor and the middle class. And so what happens is imports come in, they go to the port. You cannot release those imports from the port until somebody pays the 25% tax. There's three possibilities of who will pay for it. The importer will lower the price enough to absorb the tax. The distributor will lower the price enough to absorb the tax, or the retailer will lower the price enough to absorb the tax, or some combination. But in most cases, eventually, because we live in a market economy and there's competitors, they will have to raise the price. Who will pay that price? People who shop at Walmart, people who buy cars, people who buy washing machines, people who buy refrigerators, all on down the line. And the whole complaint about the Biden administration was that inflation was out of control. It was. Inflation is not gone down. It's actually increased 3%. People are paying more than they were when Trump took office, and they're looking for relief. I don't see how they're going to absorb the 25% tax on all of these different products. Worse than that is, okay, it's a tax. Everybody's going to pay more money. Worse than that is the supply chain. Yeah. We live in a real-time supply chain opportunity. So when someone says, where are we going to get our goods? Well, boss, we used to get them from Canada. Maybe we need to get them from Indonesia now. Oh, wait. Oh, we took them off of Canada. We'll go back to that supplier. No, wait, Mexico has them now. Oh, Mexico doesn't have them now. And that is chaos.